Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. Evo season has now officially wrapped up, and we got some interesting numbers to talk about for Guilty Gear Strive. As you may well know, Evo being online only this year was split into 4 regions: North America, Europe, Asia, and Latin America. And the stats we have in today's video, and this is by way of Event Hub, so thank you very much, is a compilation of all the character usage data in all the top 16s in all 4 of the regions. Meaning we're trying to look at some trends, not just specifically who won what Evo. Like, yes, Axel won Japan's Evo for Guilty Gear Strive. Does that mean Axel's the best character in the game and he's dominating the game? Well, no, probably not, right? But when we look at the bigger picture, we can start seeing where some things may lie. And with that said, here is that chart. So this is all the characters used across all the top 16s in all 4 regions. And once we put them all together, we can see some trends showing up. Not the least of which here at number 1 with the bullet, the most used character across all top 16s in every region in the world is Soul Bad Guy. Shocker to exactly none of you, I am very sure, right? So maybe Soul didn't win every single Evo, sure, right? But in the end, Soul is still the single most represented character across all the regions in the world and all the top 16s because he's a pretty dang good character. Now, a more surprising character to see higher up is Nagoriyuki. Not too long ago, I've mentioned in a previous video, earlier on in the game's life, Nagoriyuki was definitely a character we all kind of looked down upon a little bit because he's very non-standard, and frankly, it took a little time to unlock his potential. What he was good at, the way you'd want to play him, was not immediately apparent on day 1, right? And ever since then, as we got better and better and better, we're starting to learn more and more and more. And we're now at the point where he was the second most used character. I think his strength overall is very apparent. And the placings in the tournament, well, they speak for themselves, right? It's the second most used character that placed well besides Soul, and he's still quite a bit above the next tier below in character usage. So the days of just writing Nagoriyuki off as a bad character, that ain't cutting the mustard no more, my friends. You definitely got to look at him for the threat that he is. At 7 appearances each, Chip and May, not too surprising. These are 2 characters you would definitely expect to see higher up there in character usage, right? They're both very strong at what they do. They both have very obvious strengths. And frankly, there's not too much more to say about that. Nagoriyuki being high up there, maybe a little bit of surprise. Having a bunch of Mays and Chips present, no, man, that is exactly what you would have expected. Going downwards to 6 appearances each in the top 16s overall is Leo, Milia, and Potemkin. And the only thing I can really say here is I would have thought maybe there would have been more Leos, and there's maybe 1 or 2 more Potemkin outings than I would have expected. That's about it. Milia seems about right. Leo, definitely a very strong character. I thought maybe he would have made a grander shake of things overall, but the numbers don't lie, I guess. At 5 appearances each, we have Axel and Giovanna. If you didn't get a chance to watch the Asia finals, I highly suggest watching Axel destroy everybody. Definitely showing the true potential of the character. Maybe he's a little feast or famine, having either poor matchups or very good matchups, very little in between. But man, that was something else to see. And for Giovanna, about as expected. She's definitely not the strongest character, but certainly not weak. Going down to 4 appearances each, for Ino may be about what you would expect. She definitely is perceived a little bit weaker overall, but the real story here is Ramlethal. Now, if Ino's perceived weak, Ramlethal is perceived incredibly strong, right? And yet she has very little representation comparative to some other characters in the game. I will see many people scream, up, down, left, right, front, and center online that Ramlethal's game-breaking, she's just as strong as Soul, all that kind of stuff. And yet, when we come down to brass tacks here, the numbers are not backing that up. So what's the story here? Well, I still think Ramlethal is a very strong character, but she does have some faults, She definitely has basically little to no defense, right? Like some other characters that struggle in this game. She if you can get in, will struggle. And I think that is paid dividends here because she definitely has less representation overall. In a way, maybe she's too straightforward for her own good in this kind of setting, right? Is she very strong? Yes. Is her pressure very strong? Yes, right? But it's a little one note, right? It's not very dynamic. It's kind of the same thing over and over and over. And compared to a character like a Chip or a Soul who can do whatever they want, whenever they want, right? Maybe that just doesn't match up the same. We go down from 4 appearances each to 2 appearances each. So we have Kai and Zato. Zato, he's hard, he's weird. It takes a lot to be a very good Zato player. And that simply means in a tournament setting, you're going to see a lot less Zatos. I think that in and of itself is fairly self-explanatory. Kai, there certainly is no shortage of Kai players. In this version of the game, lots of people would like to say Kai struggles. I would definitely say, at the very least, he's not as good as he could be, right? And I think these tournament appearance numbers back that up. I maybe don't think he's as outright weak as some people would like to say, but definitely not as strong as he could be. And finally, at the bottom, 1 representation each. And at least they got it, right? At least they got it. At least it doesn't say 0, right? But we have, as I've called these 3 in the past, the 3 stooges of Guilty Gear Strive. No matter how you want to look at it, these are the 3 weakest characters in the game as the game currently stands. We do have a balance patch coming sometime later this month. But the representation, well, it tells all the story you need to really know. Angie, Gold Lewis, and Faust all struggle very hard at multiple aspects of the game, so them having, at least some representation is great, but them being at the absolute bottom of the barrel is frankly of no actual surprise. All I can really say is I hope these guys get what they need in the upcoming balance patch. That all said, that is the numbers as we now know them here. Once again, here is the graphic. Numbers, while they're not hard and fast and they determine tiers and all that kind of stuff, they definitely still paint a picture. While this wouldn't line 1-to-1 with a tier list I would make, for example, it would still be kind of close, Perceived character strength is sometimes reality, and seeing Soul all the way at the top and Faust all the way at the bottom kind of lines up with what a lot of people think about the game as it currently stands. That all said now, I would love to know what your opinions on this matter is. We have the data, right? And data, it can be cold and hard sometimes and not tell the full story. So what do you think about what kind of picture this paints for the game? What are your hopes going forward? Do you think, the game should be balanced around these results? Please, whatever your thoughts may be, post them in the comments below. And otherwise, hey, I guess that's the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Guilty Gear.